So we're going to call the meeting to order at 7:33.
Sounds good.
And the first agenda item, so it's approval of the minutes from the May 15th meeting. All right, so do I have to start a motion to?
I believe either of us can start a motion. I move that we approve the minutes from the May 15th meeting.
All right, I second.
Right. And then you have to roll call each of us whether we approve it.
Perfect. Tiana?
Yeah, I approve.
And do I call myself as well?
Yes.
Okay. Yes, I approve. All right, so the minutes are approved from the May meeting. It doesn't look like there's any public participation. So do I need to make a motion to close public participation? I do not. Okay.
Yeah, we can just move on.
So
And if someone showed up 3 minutes late and was really eager to share something, it is also, your prerogative as chair to rearrange the items in the agenda to let them publicly participate.
Okay, so then do we want to review the in terms of the green business program, any feedback that we've gotten or any sort of things that have happened?
Yeah, so I think the only feedback that I got of late was the notion around what's a meeting or not, as far as when we meet with the individual businesses.
Right.
And so I think we had put a couple of tentative dates on the calendar for like info session sort of things to raise awareness and get folks excited. So I do think those would be meetings.
Those would be meetings. Okay.
And so the one that we were going to do in person, we might want to do at somewhere where we can have Zoom capabilities.
Yep. And then other business owners can, can participate if they'd like.
Yeah.
And then is this something that you think we should ask businesses what would work for them in terms of these types of meetings, or is that something we're kind of deciding?
I mean, I think we can, based on who signs up for the pilot, we should figure out what works best for them. Like, do they want to, have us come by during work hours? Do they want to do something after? Like what
works?
What works for them, lunchtime, or early morning coffee, like whatever sort of fits with their particular work schedule. And that may or may not be the same across a different business, depending on who signs up for the pilot. We may have to be a little flexible. So
definitely. And I think that's where asking businesses who is motivated, like who wants to do this, I think that'll come into play, be more willing. Do we want to talk about maybe the first steps towards getting these?
Yeah. I mean, I think we're ready to start finding pilot participants. Yeah.
I think so too. So
and Mr. Sardella did a great job of splashing the news about the program already in the items. Yes. So some people might already be aware of it, but we should do some more thorough advertising as well.
Okay. So what are your thoughts? Where do you think we should be advertising, or where do we want to start?
Well, I mean, we can certainly ask for something to go out to the chamber, the Chamber of Commerce. We can certainly write a little blurb and ask Aaron Kokinda to send it out to folks. I think it's relevant to the chamber. They have the breakfast. They have a breakfast meeting every first Thursday of the month, I believe. So we could go to one of those. I'll miss the first Thursday of the month this coming month. I might miss the first Thursday of August too. Early time travel, but you could certainly go.
Yeah.
When are we? Yeah, I'm missing both of the next first Thursdays, so I would not be able to attend that. But that might be a good time. Just get up and say, hey, we're kicking this thing off. If anyone's interested, here's where you can learn more, or come talk to me, kind of thing.
Or is there like an email list of those individual businesses that we could email, or is there some sort of
for the chamber?
Yeah, like for the chamber.
Yeah, they send out a newsletter. They send out a monthly
Oh, okay.
newsletter. So I think we could ask to have a little blurb put into
Yeah.
the newsletter.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is
If you
that,
don't have um John's email address, I can send it to
yeah, if you want to send it to me. I can write up a little blurb, a newsletter, ask blurb, if that's helpful, just to get that
you.
started.
Yeah, I think that'd be great. Yeah, yeah, I think that's
We can add that to my list. Okay, and then is,
do we want to, just thinking about like driving people to somewhere where they can learn more, do we want to like put a notice up on our webpage, on the ESC webpage, so that we can do a shorter blurb in places and then have like a link to, read more at, and then send them to something that's like more full page?
yeah,
That
I
might,
mean,
just because like I imagine folks may not read, or we may not be able to put much in, like more than a couple sentences in, for instance, the chamber newsletter. But if we can point folks to a page, like we can write up one good, here's
yep.
what we're trying to do that appropriately conveys, right? I think it's what's important for us to convey is that this is a pilot. We're trying something new. We
Mhm.
want folks to participate and to give us feedback, but like this isn't going to be perfect. This
Yep,
is about learning. It's about learning what folks need support in and what is a challenge and what we can advocate for being better in town.
yep,
So we want folks who want to participate in it as a pilot. So I
right,
think we need to make that especially clear.
yep, okay. Um, do we want, I'm trying to just thinking out loud here. Do we want them to say like, or do we want to say email ESC at whatever if you're interested, or for more information? So there's like one mode of getting like, and if whoever emails us, we can then provide that extra lengthier description, or do you think that it's more of like a landing page or
I would
something?
think a landing page, just so
Okay,
that, like when they are thinking about it, they can
they
like
can,
they can like
okay. All right,
find
so
all the info about it, or at least
that's
like the basics. Yeah,
okay.
I
So
think
on the ESC like website.
yeah. I mean, and I think we can do it the way we've done um like in the news and announcements, like the top handful of news and announcements have um like we can just include content like the recycling and sustainability day one.
Yep.
Oh, I
I see.
can't.
Yep.
Um, we can just have stuff there. I don't think we need to make like a whole separate page within the site structure
Okay.
yet. I think we'll want to do that eventually.
Okay.
But we might want to wait on that until like we've learned some more, that
Okay, that
like
makes
as
sense.
we're taking out a pilot, perhaps.
I was just thinking in terms of like if we have a little bit of wording, like what a website would take up more, versus like an email or something. Just like thinking,
Oh, I see what you mean.
you know what I mean? Like just like obviously that web page is not going to be short. It's going to have to be some sort of longer link. Otherwise, you're really requiring them to kind of Google search or kind of navigate that Wakefield website to figure out where that is. So I just was wondering in terms of
Sure. I guess I would think either we're putting like a link in, like if it's something
a
we're sending
hyperlink.
electronically, it's a
Yep.
hyperlink.
Hyperlink.
And if
Totally.
it's not, then maybe we can make a QR code if it's like if we're like
Okay.
doing a
Yep.
poster or a
So you,
something. Yeah.
okay. Okay.
Like something we did for the car, the EV showcase, right? Like we made those little business cards and it had like a few words on one side and a QR code on the other, and they could go to the QR code to sign up. We could do something like that where it's like a real small, or like a little postcard kind of thing. If I don't want to create a lot of waste, but
Right. I
um,
know. If they're
maybe we try electronic
recyclable.
things first.
Right. Yeah. 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 We'll try that.
Yeah.
But I do see the benefit of if we are going business to
Like
business,
walking around. Yeah.
right, walking around, handing them at least something tangible And
Right, that they can hold on to and do it later, because just saying like, we'll go to this website, if they're in the middle of something, then you know, it's.
And it is more impressionable just to meet somebody that says, hey, we're volunteers, we're part of the ESC committee, this is kind of what we're doing. And if you're interested, it's kind of, just to validate or legitimize what we're doing. Okay. So maybe. Okay. And let's see what else we have here. And you haven't met with anyone or talked with anyone since the past meeting I think you had met with like recycling work.
Yeah, no one knew since the
Like
last.
that. All right. Perfect. And then in terms of like the actual pilot, like the visual of it, like what are we thinking in terms of how showing businesses what we're doing? Like are we asking them and then showing it? Is this something that we're showing them and saying, hey, this is like the vision?
Do you mean like the page that we have that has
Yeah,
the
like
faces
that.
and stuff?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think we could show that to them in the first, either in an info session
Okay.
or in the first meeting of whichever
Okay.
folks want to sign up. Yeah.
Yep. Perfect.
And I think it's in fine shape, right? Like,
it's in good shape. I'll probably beautify it a little bit, just to kind of make it like a PDF and make it like a nice looking
yeah,
thing.
we added a couple things, so it is now just spilled over onto the third page. So like,
I will.
yeah,
I'm a
exactly.
master of truncating things. Yeah, I got that.
Yep.
Okay, so I can adjust that
Cool.
and just create like
But yeah, like a sort of PDF that can be a handout, or we can give them a link to it so that they can think about it way in.
Okay, excellent. Okay, so the main goal between now and next meeting would be to be kind of advertising and collecting a group.
Finding some pilot folks.
All right,
Yeah.
pilot.
That's exciting.
Are you thinking like my first thought is to go to the Wakefield community group, or if there's some sort of group, and advertise, do a little blurb on there or a post that just says, this is what we're doing. If you know a business owner in Wakefield, or a business that you really think would like that, like something.
If you are a business, yeah.
Or if you are a business, like, so do you think the Wakefield community page, like, is there anything else that's more business oriented, or is that kind of capture a lot of?
I would do that. I would put it in the item.
Okay. Yep.
Right. We can certainly post it from our ESC page. We have a decent number of followers, so we can post it. And then the chamber newsletter, and asking Erin to share it around.
Yep. Okay.
So yeah, whatever little blurb we write, I can post it from our ESC. Once we've posted from our ESC, you can share that out to the community Facebook page. Yeah, I don't know what other business facing like publications or forums or anything.
Okay.
I think the chamber is like the chamber and and Erin, I think, are the main conduits to the local businesses that I can think of.
Okay. And then like when we do when we're finding these businesses, do you feel like they may approach us and say, okay, well, what's in it? What are the benefits for our business? Like, do you feel like if those questions come up immediately, is that something we should?
I think we should. Yeah. I mean, and I think what we had talked about before is, I mean, the immediate thing is they get some support in any of the, support in making these changes, right? We can help them find supplies or weigh options, or, figure out how to solve any of the things that may be challenges for them right now. That we will do some, and I think this is where like the folks involved in the pilot can help us shape like, well, what is meaningful? I think ultimately we'd love to share a list of the Wakefield green businesses publicly, and shout hooray about them a whole bunch. is our ESC page on the website,
I know.
does it get enough traffic that it's actually meaningful? Probably not. So, that may be something where we can get their help in like, well, where would you want to see that? Is that something where, we post periodically about them? We talked about the like a sticker in your window,
Yep.
kind of thing.
Highlights on social media, shout outs or interviews, things like that. Even the one that you kind of did with, at the, what was it, Festival by the Lake, like just telling their little story and getting a little bit of traction that
But
way.
I think we should be really clear, like that is part of what the pilot is looking to sort out, is what is the most valuable celebration and sharing of them that for these businesses.
Yep. Definitely. I also like the idea. I'm a very like research objective, oriented person. So like in terms of saying, okay, we have 10 Wakefield businesses that are doing that, like just keeping a track of that from the beginning and just eventually, hopefully getting to a point where we say we have, 50 Wakefield businesses that are employing these practices, just something like that would be really nice too. Okay. All right. So we have,
and then just as far as like if folks, go to whatever info page or something, or want more information or want to sign up, they should get in touch through the ESC email address. And then I can forward to us both to be responded, like we could just keep that email list on CC, but that just keeps it in the in the record and
the records, right? Of course, we want everything to be there. Yep. Okay.
And it's easier for folks to know than like, oh, I've got to email Tiana. How do I spell her name?
Right. Yeah.
We don't want spelling my name to stop anyone from actually participating.
Right. Path of least resistance. Yeah. Okay, that sounds good. So, okay, so next steps to launch. We kind of talked about it, but we should summarize it. We are going to reach out we're going to advertise, right? So we're advertising to Chamber of Commerce. I'm going to be writing like a little blurb that we can send in their newsletter. We can post this on community pages. We can also either have a business card or something with a QR code if we want to do more of a face-to-face with businesses and walk in and say, hey, this is kind of what we're doing. If you're interested, let us know, that sort of thing.
Which I think might be nice, especially for businesses that we either know well or spend time at, or feel like they may we have a sense that they may be interested, like a one-on-one conversation might be
a little. I found that seems a little more, I don't know, more human. So it's nice to kind of have a nice conversation and have a face to what you're going to be signing up for. Okay, and then putting it in the daily item and reaching out to Erin as well to kind of spread the news, and then creating a PDF for a handout. And then from there, so it looks like from now until the next meeting, we're just focusing on advertising.
Yeah.
Okay. So that'll be the next thing. And then once we get that interest, then we can figure out in terms of meetings or next step info session.
Yeah. Well, and we had put a couple of info sessions tentatively on our calendar. Shall we see if this still makes sense given the timing of things?
I think we said downtown location, July 17th, an evening session virtually, potentially July 18th.
Yeah. I mean, those dates still work for me.
Yeah, I think those should be fine as long as, it's an evening one. Yeah, that should be okay. Again, it's like once we get the people, we're going to have to run it by them anyway. So we'll kind of.
Right. Well, we could post that, because like in the advertisement, we could post that we are hosting those as info sessions.
We can do
so that people can, if you have questions and want to learn more, come to one of these. Like it's not an official kickoff meeting, it's just an info session for folks who are interested.
Definitely. All right, that sounds good. And I like the virtual option just because I do think it's a lot easier for a business to just sign on that way, but it depends on the business.
Right. Yeah, and I mean, is the midday, is that useful?
I personally don't think so because I think most business owners are busy,
Is
but
it during the day? Yeah.
I think so. I don't think anybody's going to really do that. But, then again, it does provide like an in-person option if that's meaningful to somebody. I just think something like an info is more casual, more like if nobody shows up, at least,
Mhm.
we can sign right off as opposed to getting there and setting up and
Sure.
nobody showing up
Well,
kind of thing.
do we want to just do them both as virtual then?
Oh yeah, we can probably do that. I think that's a
Like
great
have
idea.
one one is at lunchtime and one
Yep.
is in the evening.
Yeah, I
So that
think,
depending on the,
yep,
timelines of their business, we can.
I like that idea.
um,
All right, so like a lunchtime or morning, did
Like
you?
on the 17th. Oh, yeah, either, whatever. Or, yeah, we could do morning on the 17th and then evening on the 18th.
An evening on the 18th. I think that sounds good. Gives some options. And I think you're right. If there's something at least on the calendar of,
I don't know my timing for camp drop-offs yet.
yeah, we'll
We'll,
adjust.
we can coordinate.
Yeah, we'll coordinate. Even if one of us is at each one, should be
Yeah.
okay.
But I
Okay.
think those do need to be, um, official meetings on the calendar like this one with a Zoom, et cetera, through Sherry. So
They do have to be official, right?
that is my understanding, yes.
All right. And then, and did we want to review? I don't know if we have to or not, but in terms of us communicating with the businesses and having to CC like all of that we kind of determined since last meeting. Do you remember when we were?
Right, yeah, we can email them from our personal emails. We should just CC the ESC at
Okay.
each time.
So
Even if they don't CC it in their reply, anytime we reply, we should make sure the ESC is on
that. Okay. So that it
on
can
the thread.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But like if something comes in to the ESC email, I can forward it out to both of us so that we're both on it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. That works. All right. So we identify the next steps. And then is there any topics not anticipated or anything that we missed that you can think of? I think since we're focusing on just this one little piece, it's not
Just
not like
getting
we're really looking far out,
right. And we might need to, like it might take us a little bit to figure out who wants to participate and like is summer a time that they're ready to start thinking about this. So
Mhm.
yeah, we just be flexible and see who's interested.
Okay. And is there a number that we're looking for or like let's say there's two businesses that are interested. Is this something that we're moving forward with, or is it like, hey, let's wait until we kind of get a little more interest, or is it, hey, we have two businesses that are in, let's start here and learn?
Yeah, that's a great question. I would love to have 5 or 6,
Yeah,
just so that it feels like a cohort. But if we
Definitely.
only have 2, I would say if we only have 2 by a month from now, we should do another month of advertising and talking about.
I was thinking that too. Okay. That
because it may just be that it's summer and people are traveling or busy or whatever, and it wasn't top of mind.
Okay.
So
that sounds good. So we'll take it month to month.
Yeah.
And see if we can get that 5 or 6.
Yeah, I think it'd be nice if they've, if there's a cohort so that they feel like they're doing a thing together and it's not just like, oh, we found two favorite businesses to talk to.
Yeah. And do you know if it's like a conflict of interest if I can participate as a small business owner in Wakefield and also on the, as the chair of the Green Business Subcommittee, or is that something
Oof.
that I wear different hats and just hang up
That's a great question.
Because I would love to be one of the 6 and just because I have made a lot of green, sustainable choices with my business and I'd love to share at least.
I'm so having done the ethics videos through the state. My sense is that we because we are each small business owners, right? I think we as small business owners shouldn't unduly benefit from the program that is being like run through, the funding of this, even though we are not being paid, we are volunteers.
Okay.
I would think we shouldn't.
Yep.
I think we can certainly speak from our own experiences.
Right.
Here's how, as a small business owner, I reduced waste by doing XYZ thing, or here's how I, as a small business owner, made energy efficient choices. But I don't think we should get to be like, get promoted for one of them. That's my sense.
That would definitely,
when we get to the point where we hand off running this to the next volunteer, or where there are hundreds of Wakefield businesses, then maybe it becomes a different story. But I sure don't think we should be the first few.
Yep. Okay, that makes sense. Just wanted to make sure I asked that. All right, perfect. So next meeting date?
Yeah. So shall it be after the couple of info sessions so that we can talk about, what we heard, what we learned?
I think that's great. Yep. So
like today's the 23rd.
22nd. 22nd. Okay, so ours is on a Monday now because of the little snafu that occurred with the switching over the chair and knowing the rules. So do we want to go back to were we a Tuesday night meeting? I know the regular BSC one is on Thursday, waste reductions on Wednesday. Were we on a Tuesday?
I think we've been on a Wednesday.
Oh, we've been on Wednesday. Okay, so do we want to do Wednesday the 24th? I'm away, but
are you away that whole week?
I'm away that whole week, but that's not to say that I cannot do it. I should be able to do it that night, especially at 7:30. We're just in the Cape. So
yeah, either Monday or Wednesday that week would be fine.
Okay. I can likely do, let's do Wednesday the 20th. So let's do Wednesday, July 24th, 2024 at 7:30 p.m. Then we'll be able to kind of discuss
what we
learned and next steps from there. Okay. All right. There were no topics not anticipated. We already went through that. So do I have to make a motion to adjourn the meeting, or is there?
Yes.
Okay, so I motion to adjourn the meeting.
Second.
Okay, and the meeting is adjourned at 8:01.